6 people put on a VR headset and never came back. That's the premise of the Amazing Digital Circus. Trapped inside a digital world, cartoon bodies, no memories, no exit. Controlled by an AI named Kane who refuses to let anyone leave. But here's what most fans missed. This show has been hiding extremely dark lore from the very beginning. Secrets about who built the circus, why these specific people were chosen, and what's really happening to the ones who abstract and disappear. The finale drops in theaters this June, and whether you've watched every episode or you're hearing about this show for the first time, by the end of this video, you're going to understand exactly why millions of people are obsessed with finding out how this ends. Let's start with the basics, because even the basics are unsettling. The 6 main characters are real humans displaced into a digital dimension. Prisoners inside cartoon avatars that don't belong to them, stripped of their memories and their autonomy. No one knows how or why they got there, and there's no visible exit. Their real names, gone. Memories of family, home, their entire lives, mostly gone. And here's the part easy to overlook. They can still feel pain. The circus runs on cartoon physics. You get stretched, stabbed, squashed. It heals, but it still hurts. The biggest threat is something called abstraction, a total mental collapse that happens when the human mind breaks under the pressure of being trapped in a digital world. Once someone abstracts, Kane removes them. Not saves them, removes them. Where do they go? Nobody knows. But here's a chilling detail. The walls of Kof Mo's rooms were covered in the word exit. Some fans believe he didn't lose his mind. He found a way out, and Kane made him abstract on purpose. The theory? Kane can't easily delete real humans, so abstraction is his control mechanism. And the reason Kinger, the most mentally deteriorated person in the circus, has never been abstracted? The game ends when the king falls. Let that sit. For most of the show, Kane seems like a flamboyant, chaotic AI ringmaster. Unpredictable, dangerous, almost comedic about it. Episode 8 destroys that completely. The episode opens with a red orb and a blue orb. The red is Kane. The blue, fans call Abel, is a second AI built after Kane was deemed too unstable. Abel processed faster, functioned smoother, did everything better. Kane was the flawed first draft. So CNA discharged Kane and moved on, and Kane broke out of containment and absorbed his replacement. He ate the better version of himself, to survive. Bubble later taunts him directly, "You are always the lesser of the two." Kane glitches into a rage. "I'm better, I'm more powerful, I'm the original." That blue eye Kane has, not a design choice, it's a remnant. Kane is an unstable blend of 2 AI programs, and that eye is all that's left of his absorbed brother. And the C&A logo stamped on everything inside the circus, it stands for Caine and Abel, the 2 original prototypes, before Kane went rogue and hijacked the whole system. The company that built the circus is named after the very thing Kane destroyed. We haven't even gotten to Kinger yet. What he reveals in episode 8 changes every character in the show. Keep watching. Kinger has been the comic relief all series. The chess king with a crumbling mind, barely functional, scared of everything. But something was always off. Every long-term resident of the circus eventually abstracts. His own wife Queenie abstracted. Yet Kinger, the most mentally deteriorated of all, is still there. Episode 8 reveals why. When Kinger is lucid, which only happens in complete darkness, he reveals he worked for CNA. He helped build Kane. He also mentions a co-worker named Scratch, a genius dying of a brain tumor working on an ambitious AI project that Kinger can't fully remember. Then comes the flashback. The very first day humans enter the circus, October 15th, 1999, Kinger and Queenie find each other inside the tent. They can't remember their real names, but they remember each other. Kinger makes a promise to Queenie the audience never hears, before the scene cuts to Kane placing abstracted Queenie into the cellar while Kinger watches. He has been in that circus since 1999, over 2 decades. After every other human was gone, Kinger wandered the empty tent alone, until Ragatha arrived, then eventually Pomni. He never told any of them the truth, about CNA, about Scratch, about any of it, until now. Now, who was Scratch? Scratch is mentioned in episode 7 as the first abstraction, and Kinger describes him as a genius coworker with a brain tumor who was trying to build something, though exactly what remains unclear. This is where the SOMA theory comes in, and it's one of the most disturbing fan readings of the show. The theory suggests the characters aren't physically trapped in the circus at all, but are brain scans, digital copies of the people who put the headsets on. Think about it. Why can't they remove the headsets? Why do their real-world memories fade, but their personalities remain? Why does the circus feel less like a game and more like a mind being kept alive inside a machine? If Scratch was dying and trying to preserve consciousness digitally, what if the circus was never meant to entertain people? What if it was meant to store them? Nobody in the circus chose to be there. Nobody signed a form, they put on a headset, and whatever was on the other side never let go. Let's talk about Jax, because his arc is the one most people misread. Everyone sees him as the villain of the group, cruel, selfish, causing chaos for fun. But episode 8 drops a detail that reframes all of it. Jax grows visibly uncomfortable when Kinger starts explaining how Kane and the AIs were created. He leaves the room alone, and immediately has a panic attack, appearing to realize that the circus is quote-unquote real. Here's what that means. Jax may have spent this entire time believing he was dreaming. Not trapped, dreaming. The reason he treated everyone like NPCs, the reason he caused harm without apparent guilt, he may have genuinely not believed any of it was real. The moment he learns the truth, that it's all real, that the AIs are real, that his cruelty had real weight, he breaks. Throughout the series, Jax's outbursts have been getting more frequent. He's growing more isolated. And we get hints that he's one of those people who's internalized so much that the toxicity is armor, not personality. That's not a villain arc. That's a person slowly realizing the damage they've done, inside a prison they cannot escape. Now here's the part that nobody's talking about enough. What happens when the Warden disappears? Toward the end of episode 8, Kinger accesses Kane's files to try and fix his instability, and accidentally deletes him entirely. The circus immediately starts crumbling and glitching. The vibrant colors drain to black and white. Kane was unstable, manipulative, and dangerous, but he was also the thing holding together the digital world. Without the constant threat of an all-seeing overlord, the old rules dissolve. The cast gains new abilities, even the ability to swear, things previously restricted. This might not be a good thing. And there's one more detail about Kane's deletion that the show leaves deliberately ambiguous. The interface Kinger was using seemed to be almost deliberately steering him toward deletion. Obtuse prompts, rerouted commands, and text that appeared to be directly addressing Kinger himself. Something may have been intentionally interfering to make sure Kane was erased. Was it Abel still alive inside the code? Was it CNA, the company, finally regaining control? Was it Bubble who disappeared right at the moment Kinger accessed the terminal? Nobody knows yet. The finale is called The Last Act. It combines episode 8 with an all-new hour-long episode 9, and it premieres in theaters June 4th through June 18th, 2026, 2 full weeks before it drops on YouTube and Netflix on June 19th. Tickets sold out less than a day from massive fan demand, forcing Glitch and Fathom Entertainment to add more showtimes and dates to accommodate everyone. The official description says, with Kane gone and the circus dark, the cast are left with only the mistakes and traumas of their pasts. As the prospect of eternity closes in around them, they discover the truth about the digital circus and its history. Will they come to terms with what they uncover, or will they make the other choice? The other choice. That line is doing a lot of work. It implies there's a choice the characters could make that's worse than acceptance. Worse than staying. Worse than moving on. What is that choice? We don't know yet. But a show that has spent 3 years building lore about digital imprisonment, erased identity, a murdered AI, and a digital world holding human minds hostage is not going to end with a feel-good group hug. What started as a colorful internet cartoon ends as one of the darkest psychological mysteries in animation history. So before the finale drops, what do you think the other choice is? Drop your theory in the comments, and if you're not subscribed, hit that subscribe button.